it's just the beginning. I would say that now we have to grow from 10 to 100 and 100 to 1000, become India's largest group benefits insurtech in next 3 years. Execution is that multiplier to that idea. That idea is just a base, you could say ingredient, but वो उस ingredient से आप क्या करते हो? That is all about how well you execute. You could say biggest, you could say blessing in disguise that we don't come from insurance background, neither me or nor my co-founder. In fact, 90% of our team is not from insurance background.
So if you interview someone, so what are those 3-4 things that you look जिससे पता चलता है that this person is high on attitude?
House like we have a 6 monthly appraisal cycle, and we promote people faster than they would have otherwise seen in another well-established setup. A startup evolves much faster, and also our working hours are slightly lenient. It's like tend to associate that okay, the more you study, the more you work in an organization, your opportunity cost only tends to increase and your risk-taking appetite will reduce. But yes, within 3 months I realized that अकेले तो नहीं होगा. Yup, I guess turned lucky in a way, but at least that was a calculated bet. तूने ऐसा बोला था, मैंने तो बोला ही था. वो वाले arguments नहीं होते. That's a sense of mutual trust and respect between co-founders. That I've always been with friends who are point blank. कि जो है वो सीधा सीधा मुंह पे बोल देंगे. वो एक क्यूरियोसिटी थी एंड वो एक कीड़ा था कि नहीं हमें कुछ तो करना है. एंड आवर टेक टीम इज 100% रिमोट, सो दे आर फ्रॉम सिटीज़ लाइक बैंगलोर, चंडीगढ़, भोपाल, इवन नागपुर. New people in the team have come and they are also questioning things. We always encourage people to challenge the status quo.
Hi Anuj, welcome to Game Room. It's great to have you here. Thank you so much for taking out time. So to begin with, Anuj, would be good to understand that what are you doing and why are you doing?
So, thank you for inviting me to this session. Feels wonderful to share our journey and story with, you could say, fellow founders in the community or even budding entrepreneurs. So, we are today, as Bharatsure, building India's largest group benefits insurtech, where we are enabling the community of intermediaries, including brokers, banks, agents, that how can they leverage our infrastructure around technology, servicing, and product architecture to distribute group insurance to every Indian. So the context here is that today India is heavily underpenetrated when it comes to health insurance. We have less than 40% population covered by any form of health security, and large part of it comes through government-sponsored Ayushman Bharat scheme. And we see that a good 60% missing middle, while they can afford insurance, but they are not able to access it. So our idea and vision is that how do we simplify access of health insurance to every Indian. Started out our journey as Healthy Shore, where we built an infrastructure for ourselves first to understand that how do we aggregate insurance and healthcare together and make it seamless for an SME to buy an insurance for their team. And thereafter, now we've understood that okay, now we've solved this problem of making insurance easy to buy, but how do we make it insurance easy to sell? And that is where we are now. As Bharatsure, we are powering the entire community to distribute insurance to the wider market, because for us, one healthy shore to serve it would be practically impossible.
No, interesting, but how did you identify insurance as a sector and then boil down to health insurance? So how did that happen? Because I don't see you come from a prior insurance background.
Yeah. So that's been our, you could say, biggest, you could say, blessing in disguise that we don't come from insurance background, neither me or nor my co-founder. In fact, 90% of our team is not from insurance background. So we have always set first principles thinking, made sure that people undergo the subject of insurance, or how it has been, how it has evolved from say 2 centuries ago to now what it is today, and how it has evolved in India. If something is taught academically versus something that is taught practically, it makes a world of difference. So we don't want people to come with a sense of bias, and likewise as founders, we've seen this space from the consumer standpoint. So ever since the COVID pandemic happened, we saw that how gravely people are underinsured in the country or uninsured, and how it is very, very important for every person to have a sufficient healthcare security for themselves in event of emergency, so it doesn't burn a hole in their pockets or their financial savings don't get eroded. So we see that not every Indian can buy an insurance for himself in personal capacity. Just like you could say the financial savvy or population who would invest into financial products would be only so much, but the wider population who doesn't get into the financial products themselves, can a community buy an insurance for them? And that's where the idea of group insurance propelled, that today organizations, the larger ones, yes, they do sponsor insurance for their teams. Experience is broken, people don't have awareness, claims experience is not as great as they would like. But the SMEs per se, they don't even have access to insurance. Traditional market doesn't address this space. So he's thought that let's pick on this segment of SMEs, make insurance super easy for them to access. And now, how do we get to that entire universe of SMEs that employs 90% of the workforce in India? That's the vision, and that is through Bharatsure. So today, we are powering, say, for example, HRMS company, where they can leverage our stack and distribute group insurance to the universe of organizations who use this system. To say even a lending tech company, or say a banking or an NBFC, or say a broker who today just does, say for example, retail insurance. So how do we empower each of these, plus that universe of 2 million plus agents who today just do retail insurance? So how can we empower each of them, that they can actually now go and distribute group insurance to those SMEs, so that we can achieve that level of penetration of 100% population being covered with a sufficient health security. So, group insurance per se is very powerful when it comes to retail insurance, because people can be onboarded in bulk without their health profile or medical history being under question. You just need to cover a larger universe, and that diversification of the insurance risk gets taken care of. Whereas in retail insurance, only the person who wants to have a health coverage will eventually buy, and that creates a riskier portfolio than group insurance. So what we've seen is that how this can be a more powerful tool both for the consumer ecosystem for helping drive that penetration, and on the insurer side to help them with a well diversified portfolio, rather than having you could say borderline healthy unhealthy population. We rather have them much diversified portfolio, so that their risks get balanced, and with larger diversification of risk, the cost of insurance comes down drastically. So it's a win-win for the entire ecosystem. It's just that nobody has looked at solving this problem fundamentally for the key stakeholder in the overall workforce ecosystem, which is that SMEs. So we are doing that for them.
So, I think we were talking just before the recording also. There are some very interesting, things and stats, currently that you guys have as Bharatsure. Firstly, you have hired most of the employees who don't come from an insurance space. Secondly, at such a early stage, your NPS, employee NPS is over 71. And thirdly, 40% of your employees are women, and your attrition has hardly been anything, so your retention ratio has been very, very good. How have you managed to do this in this early stage, and also in a market like this, where people are fearful of joining early stage platforms? So what is that secret sauce and secret mantra that you and your team is kind of using?
So I would say that much has to do with a lot of software elements that we have put together in terms of team culture setting. But yes, when you are inviting a member to join the team, so that is where we lay a lot of emphasis and focus. Firstly, we always, as founders, look for talent which is high on attitude and high on intent, and maybe average or high on skill sets. But that is not our, you could say, core focus. We just want to filter the right set of people based on their attitude.
पर ये आप कैसे जज करते हो? So if you interview someone, तो what are those 3-4 things that you look, जिससे पता चलता है that this person is high on attitude?
So, what we do is that, firstly, we only interview candidates who make it a point to directly reach out to us, rather than them just applying their resume on a job portal. We always look for people who've come through references, or at least made that effort to reach out to us separately. so that at least that one level of filter is already there, that okay, that person is making an effort to reach out to us. Second is that the earlier the journey, it is much easier to recruit. It might sound counterintuitive to you. The reason why I say so is that people who join at an early stage are high on intent, whereas people who are joining a well-established startup, they know that they are joining them for a brand, for that reputation, that they can talk about it in their community. But nobody otherwise, unless he's passionate about making an impact, will join an early stage venture. That acts as a natural filter for itself. And we don't pay fancy salaries that we'll get people only here for the compensation standpoint. But yes, we get people who are very motivated to grow in the organization. So we've created that structure in house. Like we have a 6 monthly appraisal cycle, and we promote people faster than they would have otherwise seen in another well established setup. We have a very open culture where anybody in the team can come and speak to founders directly for like anything or everything that they are concerned about which impacts their work. So we have that open forum. Plus we have like weekly all hands call where everyone in the team will talk about what is that new thing that they've done this week, or what is that function achieved overall. So everyone in the team is connected to the journey of our evolution. Like unlike a traditional setup which grows incrementally, a startup evolves much faster. So it is very important for that village of early joinees and new joinees to cope up with how we are evolving. So we've set up enough, you could say, tools within our organization through which people stay updated, people feel open about talking through their problems, and there's zero degree of politics. Plus we make sure that people who newly join the organization or the incoming team members, they are high on attitude and intent. And yes, I guess that's eventually all adding up to why we have that high retention rate. Like we've, in our journey of 60 members that we've hired, we have only had about 5 people leaving us, and that too for better reasons, that they were looking to pursue education or they were looking to like relocate and we couldn't accommodate them. Maybe for those reasons people have left, or maybe some people were underperformers and things didn't align after they joined. But otherwise, we've made sure that we retain our people and help them grow within the organization. So we believe that yes, promote people internally rather than getting external talent at higher levels. But yes, we'll have to strike that balance as well. But so far we've been able to manage it.
No, now that you're talking about balance, I feel that at early stage, founders want to run at a different, pace, because when you are in your journey of 0 to 10,
Hmm.
things are very, very, agile. Things keep changing, monthly. There wouldn't be any concept of work-life balance,
Hmm.
per se. Uh, Getting to have all 50, 55 people, think in this manner and run at that pace, how are you kind of managing? Do you come across a situation wherein employees do come and talk about the fact that there is no work life balance, and you in your head think that, look, this is what you've signed up for, these
Hmm.
are the these are the pros and cons of working in an early
Hmm.
stage platform. So how are you guys managing such situations?
So I guess this is again slightly different than how we think as founders. We've made sure that team members have their work-life balance. In the initial days, yes, we had a 6-day working week because the team was very small, like around 15, 20 people. But ever since then, like we've transitioned into say bi-weekly working on Saturdays to now, since last 12 months, we are only on a 5-day working week with 9 hours a day. So, and also our working hours are slightly lenient. It's like 10:30 to 7:30, not 9 to 6, because people, we see that the new generation of millennials or the Gen Zs, they are very, very active otherwise at night, and they start their day slightly late. And plus the commuting problems, we can't escape from it. So we've been slightly flexible to accommodate these kind of you could say challenges. But yes, we made sure that people, when they walk out of office, they are committed to addressing any customer query or We have a 7-day working system for our claims team, for example. We've created a roster where people will work on rotation and still work only 5 days, but on rotation basis, so that we have a 24/7 claims team. And we know that there are specific hours where we don't get those claim requests. So people will be active and available, but not necessarily that they would be working. We've balanced out the workload in a manner that we don't push unrealistic deadlines on the team. Yes, founders office or the people who are in that in that environment where we are on the lookout for our next round of funding, then there will be certain critical requests which may need to be honored on weekends. And yes, as founders, so for us it's like 24/7 working, but we made sure that the team feels that comfort, that it's not like that you have to just add up to the founder's pace. You can work at your own pace, but you have to deliver. And at least you need to achieve that baseline working hours, so that at least we don't see that anybody is unproductive or underutilized in the team. So we'll make sure that there are systems in place to make sure that even that kind of feedback is getting reported. So rather we would push for a better work-life balance, because that's the recipe for people staying motivated at work.
Oh.
Otherwise, people would just want to switch.
No, interesting. I think this is a very, very exceptional, view from a early stage founder. Nice to know that you're being able to manage work-life balance at the same time have people being, very, very productive. Now, coming to you, Anuj, you've done your CA, you've done your MBA, you were working, and now you've founded a company. So I'm also a chartered accountant, and
Oh wow.
I always think कि मतलब 4-5 साल वो सीए की पढ़ाई करने के बाद मतलब what was the need, what made you do MBA? Is CA a relevant, education curriculum itself for people at this stage of MBA is, so important? So what would be your view and message to anyone who is probably thinking that should I pursue CA or MBA? Should I pursue CA plus MBA, or should I just do, MBA itself?
Okay. So I guess earlier, back in the previous decade, until 2015, rather, I would put it that way, that for CAs to get business opportunities would be very, very difficult. People would view CAs for their core function of finance, auditing, or taxation. Whereas I always aspired to get into the business side of things. While yes, I love the CA subject, but yes, I thought that maybe I want to see myself in a more impactful role. And that's where that key of getting into that function was very high. And I saw that I guess the easier way out would be possibly to, you could say, enroll for an MBA program, so that I become a natural fit for a business function. I had that time allowed for CAs to access business roles, then why not? I would have skipped that MBA program, and I would have directly undergone that 2 year stint with, say, an early stage startup that we are, or say working in a organized setup where I could get exposure to business side of things. So and in fact even applied for sales function when I was a CA, but people would just rule us out based on our experience, because I understand that sales would expose you to the widest set of learnings as compared to anything else. But yes, that didn't happen and that didn't work out. So hence the decision to do an MBA. But I feel that increasingly, even in our team, we have so many people who have just, you could say, carried on from what they have done academically, and they've gotten into functions which otherwise anyone from outside would possibly question, that how can a person who is a CA working in the customer success team, how is a person as a CA working in a partnerships role, or how is a person from a medical fraternity getting into a program role. So we have people from varied diverse backgrounds, and we make sure that people do what they love to do, where they're comfortable in a specific set of function, plus they get that exposure to deliver impact. So times have changed.
So if you were a student at this point of time, what would you pursue? Would you still pursue CA plus MBA, or would you stop at a CA and maybe move into a sales role because you believe that times have changed?
So I would say that in India per se, like that 12+4 education, that plus 4 is very, very critical, unlike the developed countries where they get so much exposure there of working into you could say internships. There's a very nice culture around engaging people early on in their academic life itself, that they get that exposure. So CA does offer that you get to work into setups at an early stage with a very high level of ownership and responsibility. Unfortunately, for those other academic domains, that has not happened. People have to take that effort to enroll for internships. So I believe that the best education that you can get is from practical learnings, and you should only maximize on what kind of internships you can do during that +4 education. Uh, it is otherwise okay to do any courseware that you feel that will help you with that basic set of validation. But most importantly, what practical exposure can you get at an early age, and that will help you decide at what kind of roles would you eventually want to get in. And like times have changed again, making that statement that increasingly people are going to become generalists. uh, yeah, our parents would advise that you need to study XYZ, become a specialist, become a lawyer, become a CA, etc. But I feel that the times have changed. People, only a specific cohort of population may become specialist, but the larger population has to be generalist. You should know everything. And there's enough and many tools available, including Chat GPT, where you can do work. You can work your way out to deliver and or say rather, you can work your way out. I'll just want that this be edited, but yes, I'm saying that there are enough and many tools available in the market, including the likes of Chat GPT, which will allow people with you could say ways to work out and deliver that output. So yep, I feel that it's very easy in the current you could say period that we are all going through, where there was radical changes through artificial intelligence and automation will help.
So, if you have to ask me, I feel that my journey of undergoing CA for 4 to 5 years, the biggest thing I learned was discipline.
Hmm.
Because I think if you're not disciplined, articleship, those fat books of CA, so it is academically very, very heavy. You will never be able to kind of, crack through. So for me, the biggest learning was discipline, which I think I carry, now at every phase of, life, whether it is a personal or
Yeah, it's
professional
extremely.
life. But ये तो मतलब we have spoken a lot, professionally. Would love to understand who is Anuj in mind, in heart, in spirits. How have you landed where you have, landed? What made you take the plunge? आपको डर नहीं लगा? What has been the background and
Hmm.
the journey there?
So I guess again, like taking a counter perspective here, that people tend to associate that okay, the more you study, the more you work in an organization, your opportunity cost only tends to increase and your risk-taking appetite will reduce. I would rather flip this around, saying that the more you have undertaken, say, higher education, the more you have worked into different setups and organizations, you built a network around you, you have a larger safety net. Where today, if say you take that plunge and get started, and if things don't work out, you have people in your network to fall back to, or you have your education qualifications to take care of getting you that job. So the sooner you start, the risk is higher, but the latter you start, it is in fact much easier. But people in like psychologically tend to get it all reversed, and they say that okay, since I am say 10 years into a profession or 10 years into my work X, I'm earning X. Can I get that same X with an entrepreneurship journey? Then answer is simple no. The more you grow in your you could say work career, the harder it will be for you to get to that stage where you are otherwise. But yes, you have a wider safety net and you can actually make that 10x uh, if you do things right. So I guess it's just a matter of perspective, that whether and how at what stage can you take that plunge. The day you feel comfortable that yes, I have that backing with me and now I can go all in. But yes, you need to have that strong resolve that that 0 to 1 journey is very very difficult. But once you have that basic foundation laid of your team members, most importantly your co-founder, and also some early set of investors backing you up, that 1 to 10 journey becomes super interesting because you can start delivering and start creating that impact. 0 to 1 it's all idea and limited impact, but 1 to 10 may that idea starts translating into results. So I believe it's a fascinating journey, but yes, it's you versus you and not you versus the world. So that's the difference where you need to take that step back, see things differently, and then take the plunge.
Yeah, so you touched upon the fact that 0 to 1 is the most difficult time because you're figuring out it is you versus you at that point of time. Uh, so what what made you walk the path of 0 to 1? You know what was the driving force? I'm sure multiple times you would have faced a situation wherein you would have felt ki kuch ho nahi raha hai, PMF product aa nahi raha hai. How have you walked that journey, and what would be your learnings which our audiences can have, people who are walking the 0 to 1 journey and who give up at that stage
Correct.
itself.
So I believe that 75% startups would actually fail in that 0 to 1 journey, and that's where that resolve will become very critical. That do you have a vision which you can keep telling day in and day out, whether it's to your friends, your family, or team members, or your investors, and say that look, there might be some ups and downs in the journey. Things will naturally not work out the way you want because people will always have that question of credibility. That okay, if you have built something, should I trust you? As an if you have a B2C product, it's much easier to get people convinced because they are trusting you as an individual. But when you're into a B2B product like the way we've built, so it becomes all the more difficult because it's a company that will have to trust you, while that individual may still support, but whether that company or that organization will trust you. So I believe that the challenges are different. But yes, it's all about you reflecting yourself from what you were a month earlier. That have you grown uh, at every month? So when we see that 0 to 1 journey, things change radically every month. Like you have a new set of team members joining, or you have new set of product iterations, or say you have new set of customers. So that anxiety is always high. Whereas the 1 to 10 journey is more like, okay, there's a basic playbook set up, but then you have to be very aggressive in reaching out to the market. So that 0 to 1 journey is a different ball game. Things may not always work as per plan, but are you also comfortable looking at pivots? So I would not say that okay, as Healthy Shore we've pivoted into Bharatsure. It's just that we've launched a new brand where we see that the larger purpose can be addressed, and that was in the 1 to 10 journey. But maybe for some people, this could have been a 0 to 1 call that okay, while I'm addressing the same problem, but can I do with a different business model? You have to be very, very agile. And that's where people tend to get emotionally biased with what they have thought earlier and things are not working out. But you need to carry on from that emotional bias and think practically. And that's where that sounding board of having a strong co-founder really helps. That okay, uh, whether we can talk to each other and you could say play out the situation that the market thinks of us and see that what really matters. So it's always important to keep introspecting as to whether the direction that you are treading, whether that is right. Because अगर आप एक direction में जा रहे हो and you know there's a death knell at the end, so it doesn't make sense to even grow aggressively there. You will reach faster towards that death knell. But the thing is that okay, while you've taken these steps, is the end result going to be positive? If no, then you start slightly looking at other ways to grow. But that problem is still there. Your fundamental problem that you are solving, that has to be very clearly laid out. How you are able to solve that problem, that avenues will keep changing.
So how did you go about choosing or finding a co-founder? How did that marriage happen?
So I would say there I was very, very lucky. So we है कि the universe conspiring to help you achieve what you want. So I started out as a, or rather not even that. We started out as a team of 4 people trying to just ideate. वो बस conceptualize करने में सबको मजा आता है, वो वाली phase में थे, where we were less actions and only words. And when COVID pandemic happened, we got that opportunity. Okay, now we should go and plunge into this. But the other friends who were into this idea, or not other friends, they were work colleagues, they didn't want to execute this into an action. So I thought that okay, at least whatever time that I have spent, I was always intending to go live. Maybe the other folks may not feel that time is right, that opportunity cost wala, we could say, dilemma. So I went all in, but yes, within 3 months I realized that अकेले तो नहीं होगा, and maybe we'll need a co-founder through which we can like sail through this journey together. Because as a founder, you cannot break down before your team, but at least you can break down before your fellow co-founder, right? So that piece was important to add to that, I would say, jigsaw puzzle, that having that strong co-founder who can complement. So I just sat one day and just thought that who in my immediate circle can actually become a co-founder, because otherwise आप कुछ founders ऐसे भी होते हैं जिनको मतलब just luck by chance एक neutral external person मिल जाता है as a co-founder, but that's little risky as a thought, because you don't know that okay whether that person's motivation, personal family backgrounds, all variables around his life are known to you. So it has to be a long term marriage, right? So that comes from trust. So I thought that let me look at someone from my immediate circle, uh, and that's where I just rang up Sanil one fine day, and I asked him that, look, there is an opportunity like this, but I'm finding it tough to crack it alone. I know that this is achievable, and whether you want to come on board. And I knew that for a fact that Sanil, so he's a good friend to me since 15 years, and he's also supported me during that initial stage with certain set of, so हर friend से आप मतलब कुछ ना कुछ काम तो करा ही लेते हो in that 0 to 1, so he had helped me there. So I asked him that whether he would want to come as a full-time co-founder, and he was also looking for some opportunity to break in. And I guess it just clicked for both of us that he was thinking about this, and I approached him at the right time. So timing effect worked wonders, and वहाँ से then it was no looking back, because he was looking at product tech side of things, and I was largely looking at sales, business, and operations alongside finance and HR being joint functions between us. So, yep, I guess turned lucky in a way, but at least that was a calculated bet.
So, you made a statement that it clicked between you and your co-founder. Now, I'm sure when you marry someone, or when you're in a very close relationship, there are few things which clicks and there are few things which don't click. So, what is it that you feel doesn't click and you guys are making it click, and how do you make that click between both of you?
Yep. So this is very important that each of the co-founders act as sounding board for the organization. That you need to play out the situation that would happen outside. So you need to play as devil's advocate. If Sanil is talking about product and tech, I will speak the language of a devil's advocate, and likewise. And we try to arrive at a solution where we feel that okay, there is some level, some degree of confidence based on how we're playing out that market situation. But yes, there will be certain conflicts in terms of whether we should do A versus B. But then we have kind of a veto power between us that okay, if it's something to do on the product and tech side, then he gets that veto power. Or if it's something to do on say the business development, partnerships, or operation side of thing, I get that veto power. But then once you are outside that discussion, that decision is respected mutually by both co-founders. It should not be that कि यार तूने ऐसा बोला था, मैंने तो बोला ही था, वो वाले arguments नहीं होते. That's a sense of mutual trust and respect between co-founders, that okay, something has been decided, you always have that agility to fall back and try option B. So don't worry about, just go and experiment. If it works, then that turns out well for you, great. If it doesn't, then go to that other option. But yes, if there are some strategic calls, then yes, we try to solve this mutually well.
But have you guys faced a situation जहाँ पे maybe you both were not in sync with each other, and one of them exercised the veto power, and uske baad things did not go well, and then it is very very human to feel that, look, I said so, you should have kind of heard, because it impacts and it costs business at the end
Hmm.
of the day.
सो आई डोंट थिंक ऐसे कोई रेडिकल चीज़ें हुई है जहाँ पे मतलब वी फेल कि नहीं ये like that veto power exercise went incorrect. Yes, there have been certain decisions about handing over responsibilities to somebody in the team just for the sake of experimenting whether that team member will be able to deliver or not. So that is okay, right? It's okay to fail that. Okay, this team member did not deliver. We'll ask somebody else. The decision of who should be doing what. At times we go wrong there, but yes, we don't make it so evident. Like it's like okay, just switch to the other person. But strategic level, pe we've already like always been aligned, and it's also the reason where we've mutually aligned onto things and not had that level of conflict at strategic level. At tactical levels, yes, there'll always be conflicts, but वो हम लोग फिर cover up कर लेते हैं अच्छे से.
So, Anuj, so the vibe that you give as a person is a very, very right, a very, very matured, a very, very wise, person. The way you spoke about your co-founder, or the way you went about your 0 to 1, journey, or in fact, the way you guys are managing your, team as well. So, what has made Anuj, who Anuj is? And I strongly feel that there is a childhood, a background, an upbringing or experiences in the early stage which makes you, who you are. So, if you can talk a little bit more in terms of, how have you grown up, and how have you reached a stage wherein I think that you're only and only taking right and wise
It's not
choices
that.
and things which are principally
Yeah.
right. So how are you being able to be away from things which are not so right? So what
Hmm.
has been your background?
So I have always believed in actions and not
पर ये वाला
just thoughts.
belief कैसे आया है, मतलब what? So if you've always believed in action, there has to be something which was
Yep.
engraved in your subconscious mind, which gave you this
Hmm.
belief.
So I would say that a fair degree of what like uh, we have achieved is a summation of experiences. So I was fortunate that in my previous career I was working for an in-house logistics tech venture of Mahindra Group. It was named SmartShift, where I got exposure to that zero to no not 0 to 1, rather that 1 to 10 journey, and we saw that okay, what are things that possibly can go wrong. I had that first hand view. Even today we might be making a lot of errors in the organization. Our team members have that visibility versus say my immediate next stint where I was program consulting Virgin Hyperloop 1 for helping them secure projects in India for building the world's first hyperloop corridor. So it involved, you could say, managing multiple stakeholders around, managing different views and perspectives from foreign stakeholders, India private stakeholders, and public side stakeholders. So how do you marry each other and get things from 0 to 1? That was more of you could say that exposure. Without these experiences, possibly I would not have built Bharatsure and Healthy Shore to the stage what it is today. So at every stage, you need to reflect back on the experiences where if that was a situation there, how would that have played out? तो वो कहीं ना कहीं help करा है. And at an academic career stage, like I always felt that I will do what I want to do. And जैसे even when I was doing my CA internship, I had 1 year of auditing experience. But I felt that no, things are getting little too monotonous. So immediately switched into a tax-based role, and it was a big decision, Tabibi. So I did that in my internship. I had the dual exposure to both auditing and tax. And then when I got into, you could say, post CA role, I again felt that like what you see academically, maybe something that does not translate to what it otherwise is when you are starting out your post CA career. So I didn't see myself here. I'll be a partner of an XYZ firm, or I'll be a partner of my own firm which is doing CA practice. So immediately took that plunge that I would want to study MBA and get into a business role. So I have never thought that okay, I will blame myself for not taking an action if things don't look interesting to me. I uh, as a person, I would want to work on something where I can get out of it. So I've always been of that mindset. And yes, without uh, uh, deharmonizing any relations, like making sure that people around me are aware why I'm doing what I'm doing. तो कहीं ना कहीं वही है कि काफ़ी लोग सिर्फ आइडिया ही खेलते रहते हैं अपने माइंड में. इवन टुडे आई स्पीक टू सो मेनी पीपल हु वांट टू स्टार्ट आउट बट दे डोंट बिकॉज इन द माइंड दे आर प्लेइंग टू मेनी thoughts and you only cannot have thoughts in your mind all the time. You have to get into actions and जब आप अर्ली स्टेज ऑफ योर लाइफ में हो तो एक्शंस और फास्ट होने चाहिए. जब आप लेटर स्टेज पे हो मे बी वो एक्शंस स्लो होंगे रेडिकली. बट येस एज आई सेड कि आपके लिए उतना ईजी हो जाता है टू स्टार्ट आउट. तो कहीं ना कहीं आई वुड से इट्स अ बैलेंस एट ऑल स्टेज. देयर हैव बीन टाइम्स वेयर I could have failed if I would have been in that same set of zone where I was. So maybe for me that guiding principle was कि जो तुम्हें सही लग रहा है वो करो and don't care about what people around you would think. So maybe that has worked.
But have you really reflected and thought through? So, how did CA happen? How did you become action oriented? What values were instilled? How was your childhood like? Because there has to be something which is subconsciously programmed in your head for you to become, action oriented. There has to be something which subconsciously is programmed in your head to be able to implement the idea which many people are not able to implement. So how was the life, before CA? How did you choose, CA?
So I would say that a lot has to do with the kind of people and the community that you have around you. So I've always been with friends who are point blank कि जो है वो सीधा सीधा मुंह पे बोल देंगे. And like even those जहाँ पे there's some level of you could say common interest. So जब आप स्कूल में रहते हो तो you have people who might be ending up with different things in their life. But वो स्कूल फ्रेंड्स आज भी मेरे इतने इंटैक्ट है because they are there with me for a different purpose. वो मुझे आज भी मतलब गाली दे के पुकारेंगे या मतलब कोई चीज़ पे मुझे आउटराइटली कोई चीज़ बोल देंगे बट they wouldn't care who what I am today. Versus my college friends जहाँ पे हम साथ में CA की पढ़ाई कर रहे थे एंड हर कोई आज अलग अलग चीज़ कर रहा है इन देयर करियर बट एटलीस्ट वहाँ पे कॉमन इंटरेस्ट था कि हम साथ में कुछ कॉर्पोरेट वर्ल्ड को डिस्कवर करें. एंड वो एक क्यूरियोसिटी लेवल पे हमारा मैच था सब जन का कि देवर देयर विथ सम लेवल ऑफ सीरियसनेस कि हमें कुछ करना है. ईच वन ऑफ माई ग्रुप मेंबर्स इंक्लूडिंग सनिल हु इज़ माई co-founder टुडे वो एक क्यूरियोसिटी थी एंड वो एक कीड़ा था कि नहीं हमें कुछ तो करना है. एंड वी वुड डू थिंग्स एज अ ग्रुप. हम काफ़ी चीज़ें करते थे इन कॉलेज एज वेल. तो कहीं ना कहीं आई वुड रिलेट टू द सर्कल्स दैट आई हैव बिल्ड एंड दीज सर्कल्स हैव ऑल्सो सपोर्टेड. जब हम हेल्दी श्योर एंड भारत श्योर स्टार्ट कर रहे थे दैट they were the ones who came to the front and said that if you are starting out we'll want to back you up. So in my first round of funding it was my friends and professional network of colleagues who invested into healthy shore. तो कहीं ना कहीं वो आप जो रिलेशंस बिल्ड करते हो या आपकी जो कम्युनिटी ऑफ पीपल हु आर देयर अराउंड यू दे हेल्प यू बिकम वॉट यू हैव बिकम. दे कीप गिविंग यू दैट फीडबैक. अरे जैसे अभी आप बोल रहे हो कि दिस इज़ हाउ यू आर थिंकिंग. सो वो काइंड ऑफ फीडबैक उनसे आ जाता है कहीं ना कहीं कि अरे तू ऐसा है तू ऐसा है. आपको नहीं पता आप कैसे हो अनलेस समबडी फ्रॉम आउटसाइड वुड कम एंड टेल यू. तो मे बी वो कहीं ना कहीं वो एक फ्रेंड्स के साथ आप यू कैन बी ब्रूटली ऑनेस्ट एंड यू गेट टू लर्न मोर अबाउट योर सेल्फ विद इन योर फ्रेंड सर्कल. तो कहीं ना कहीं आई गेस आई वुड रिलेट टू दैट.
So basically, having very very honest, friend circle is what helped you come where you have, kind of, come. And you also spoke about community, having right people around. You're building a tech business. From Mumbai, Bangalore, and Gurgaon is absolutely known to
Yeah.
be hub of founders, hub of the entire Bangalore is known to be hub of entire VC ecosystem. In fact, I had to uproot myself from Mumbai and move to Bangalore,
Okay.
for the entire reason. So, how's Mumbai coming up? In terms of building a tech company, how easy or difficult it is. Didn't you get tempted to move, to Bangalore or Gurgaon, because you will have the larger community of founders to kind of learn
Yes.
and engage, together with?
Yep. So I would say that for us as an industry, our partners, largely the insurance companies, are all based in Mumbai, so that plays to our advantage. But yes, on the flip side, as you said, the large side of the tech geeks would be in other cities. So how we've balanced is कि हमारी जो सारी operations team है, they are headquartered in Mumbai, and yes, we are expanding into other cities now with satellite offices, but we always had people remote. And our tech team is 100% remote. So they are from cities like Bangalore, Chandigarh, Bhopal, even Nagpur. So we have had 100% remote setups, but they are exceptionally motivated. And we want to house them together in Delhi. So that's the idea. So that they can have more focused interactions with each other. So yes, origin मुंबई से हुआ, but practically हमें तो हर ये सारे की geographies में present तो होना पड़ेगा.
How did you get your first customer? Because I understand I'm also doing B2B sales, just coming out of nowhere and having a product and not having insurance background, and then having a SME or a B2B platform buy your product can be very, very difficult.
Yes.
So how did you guys manage that first customer?
So our first customer is Pocket Aces, and they are still continuing that relation with us since 3 years. So how it started was that when we wanted to launch Healthy Shore, we started introducing some bite-sized products. So in that kind of you would say starting phase, we had a COVID group insurance, which would only exclusively cover COVID insurance kind of claim incidences for employees. So we partnered with an insurance company and got that product launched, where we were only one of the few players who was actively promoting that product. And we spoke to Pocket Aces team, the CFO there, and it was my very own friend who had working relations with him. He said that this is a guy with such background, and he wants to genuinely get first-hand feedback on what they are building, and also if in the process you like their product, why don't you explore them? So when we went to them, it was a tough sell. That first conversion is definitely priceless, and yes, lot of emotions, because जब पैसा आपके अकाउंट में आता है तभी आपको स्टार्ट reality check मिलती है that okay, what you are doing is actually valued by your customers and otherwise. So it was a tough sell, but we like presented ourselves as to how we'll go out of our way to support them as compared to what a traditional player in the market would do. So वही होता है that even today when we engage with vendors in our team or in our organization, we always look for a certain set of vendors who would go out of their way to prove themselves. So that hunger to prove, that mattered to them, and we delivered exceptionally well that they moved their entire business to us in a year's time. They could see that experience shift. So I would say that that is how we went about getting this account converted.
Oh, interesting. But so एक बात बताइए, ये जो आपका hunger to prove है, now you would not be the only person who would be selling and
Correct.
servicing all the corporates. So how are you transmitting this hunger to prove at different levels of your organization? Because a lot of hunger as a founder you would have because you own the baby, and this is what happens in lot of sales funnel, because as you start going down the hierarchy, the hunger kind of reduces, and that's where the client servicing also gets diluted. So have you guys identified any playbook or anything that you really follow, which helps you maintain this whole aspect?
So I would say that the first thing that we've done is, at least in our team, all the 60 members carry ESOPs. So they are vested into the company's growth, and they see themselves growing even with time into higher positions. So we have created a culture around our business that eventually Bharatsure and Healthy Shore need to succeed, and people who join newly to the organization, they have that higher degree of hunger to prove themselves, and that balance again has to kick in. That okay, new people in the team have come and they are also questioning things. We always encourage people to challenge the status quo, and even people who are managing teams. We align them with newer responsibilities with team management so that they also see themselves in a different role and want to prove themselves. So yes, there are targets at high levels as an organization, but we've not created micro targets for anyone. We have aligned everyone to that common vision that Bharat Shore has to succeed. So kahin na kahin, we are that challenger brand, uh, to be honest, in the market where we have created a new model and we are relooking the entire space of group insurance by enabling the market. So to that extent, we are also a first mover, and we have a lot to prove. It's just the beginning. I would say that now we have to grow from 10 to 100 and 100 to 1000, become India's largest group benefits insurtech in next 3 years. So we have a lot ahead of us, and team is motivated that this is what we need to achieve. So yeah, I guess currently that enthusiasm of the founders has kahin na kahin translated into the team members.
And Anuj, matlab, what does success mean to you? I'm not talking about Bharat Sure or business. Just at a personal level, if you have to look back at your life, what is it that you are looking to achieve? What would be that moment where you'll feel that, look, I have really been successful?
So there was a beautiful section or segment in the book Psychology of Money. Not read it, but at least heard it from folks. That success is that how do you get to spend the time you want, and not the way others want you to do. So that is that real wealth that starts getting created when you get that freedom to spend the time the way you want meaningfully. So I would say that for me, even this is success as to what we've achieved so far, because I'm in that position where I'm getting to spend the time I want. And with every stage, like if I ask for the lens of business success, then yes, there are milestones that we need to keep achieving, and we would want to get there. So success is, I guess, it's again very very subjective. It's not to do with so in startup community it is more like कि कौन से stage पे हो आप pre series A हो, seed हो, series A हो, series B हो. Those are like objective validations of success. Yes, those are also critical. That itself speaks that okay, what sense of market validation you carry. But at a personal level, success means things very different. So that is where I meant that getting to spend the time the way you want.
So basically, freedom of time is what you are
Yes.
kind of seeking for.
Hmm.
Any last thoughts you have for viewers? I think there would be many people who would be wanting to take the plunge, not able to take the plunge. There would be many folks
Hmm.
who would want to be as disciplined and as channelized as you, but life happens. There are a lot of distractions in life, not able to kind of do that. So
Hmm.
any last thoughts that you have for the viewers?
So I would say that that mantra to success and to go and set it out yourself is that any successful business is maybe 5% idea and 95% execution. Till you don't go and execute and take that plunge, you will not know whether that idea is even carrying any meaning. Execution is that multiplier to that idea. That idea is just a base, you could say ingredient, but वो उस ingredient से आप क्या करते हो, that is all about how well you execute. So that will matter a lot. People cannot just you could say judge you on what idea you have, but people can very well judge you on what you've built. So that comes through execution.
Oh, nice. Thanks, Anuj. Thanks for spending time, with us.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be on the show and hope that this adds some meaning to the viewers' thoughts.
Thank you.
Thank you.